is that underlying everything, the fundamental patterns.
King Charles was reportedly shattered when Princess Anne revealed a secret will said to be written by Queen Elizabeth herself. The contents? Absolutely shocking. Could this change everything we thought we knew about the royal future? Watch till the end, and be sure to subscribe for more royal revelations. It all started with a quiet afternoon. Princess Anne, alone in a private royal residence, was handling the deeply personal task of sorting through her late mother's belongings. As the Queen's only daughter, it was her responsibility and her honor. Among the old letters and keepsakes, Anne noticed something unusual: a polished mahogany box with a delicate gold latch. On it, a simple note: for Anne's eyes only. Inside was a single folded parchment and a handwritten letter. The moment she opened it, Anne realized this wasn't just another memento. It was something far more serious: a personal message and a hidden will. Anne didn't rush to tell anyone. She knew the gravity of what she had found. Instead, she quietly reached out to two legal experts she trusted. The goal? To confirm whether the handwriting, style, and language were authentic. After a careful analysis, the result was clear. The Queen had written this herself, just 3 months before her passing. But this wasn't your typical will. It didn't detail items or estates. It outlined emotions, thoughts, and a powerful message about the monarchy's future. The letter spoke of each family member, but one name appeared again and again: Catherine. Anne made the tough choice to share the letter with the one person it would affect most: King Charles. In a quiet, guarded room, she handed it to him. At first, Charles read silently. Then the atmosphere shifted. His face tightened. His breathing changed. The Queen's words started with affection, but quickly turned serious. She praised his commitment, acknowledged his long wait for the throne, but then gently questioned his ability to lead in a changing world. And then came the most shocking line of all. She called Catherine the future of the monarchy. Not William, not Charles, Catherine. The words hit like a wave. Charles stood up, stepped back, and collapsed. In her letter, Queen Elizabeth didn't just compliment Catherine's grace. She laid out a vision for her, a guiding role. A woman not just beside the next king, but someone pivotal to the royal family's survival. She described Catherine as calm, thoughtful, poised, someone who connected with people not through grandeur, but through authenticity. Her ability to lead without trying to dominate impressed the Queen. The message was subtle but clear. Catherine wasn't simply the wife of the heir. She was essential to the crown's future. Palace aides rushed in to help the king. Medical teams responded immediately. Charles regained consciousness quickly, but something had shifted. The room was locked down, phones taken, silence ordered. Within hours, the existence of the second will began to quietly circulate among the family. Reactions varied: shock, disbelief, even fear. When Prince William finally read it, he was deeply moved. It didn't undermine his position, but it changed the dynamic. His wife wasn't just support. She had been recognized by the Queen herself as an anchor of the institution. And Catherine? She had no idea. While all eyes were turning toward Catherine, one figure remained oddly quiet: Queen Camilla. Those close to her say she was shaken. After years of careful work to be accepted by the public and the royal family, her place had finally been secured next to Charles. But now, a hidden message threatened to shift attention elsewhere. It wasn't just about status. Camilla felt the Queen had bypassed her in the final hour. Her quiet distress grew, though she remained publicly composed. Privately, her team began to strategize: how to preserve her role, how to respond if the Queen's letter gained attention. Once the palace legal teams got wind of the document, discussions began behind closed doors. Technically, the letter wasn't official. It hadn't gone through the proper legal processes. It wasn't part of the probate record. But emotionally and symbolically, it was powerful. Some insiders argued it should remain buried. It's too risky, they said. It could disrupt everything. Others felt the opposite. This is the Queen's voice, her final wish. And then word started leaking. A few lines here, a name there. Soon the headlines started: Queen Elizabeth's secret will. Did the Queen choose Catherine? And the public? They were captivated. Through all the noise, one figure never wavered: Princess Anne. She didn't go public. She didn't seek the spotlight. But she held her ground. Anne had always been known for her duty-first mindset. She didn't do drama, but she did do truth. And when it came to her mother's final message, she knew silence wasn't an option. She believed the monarchy deserved to hear the Queen's vision, even if it complicated things. Anne stood not for conflict, but for clarity. As the royal halls buzzed with hushed conversations and private tensions, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, continued on as if none of it reached her ears. Her public appearances remained calm and thoughtful. Whether visiting a children's hospital, engaging with educators, or walking side by side with William at charity events, her presence was consistent. But something was different now. The world wasn't just seeing her as the Duchess, the wife of the future king, or the elegant mother of three. They were beginning to see her as a leader in her own right. Behind the scenes, her calendar began to subtly shift. More public engagements, increased visibility, invitations to attend senior-level briefings previously reserved for higher-ranking royals. Quiet changes that suggested the Queen's words had not fallen on deaf ears. And yet Catherine never once changed her tone. She didn't issue a statement or make a grand appearance. She didn't ask for anything. She just kept showing up, with grace, with empathy, and with quiet certainty. That's what made people take notice. Her speeches, short, meaningful, and warm, stood in contrast to the polished, sometimes distant style of older royal communications. She spoke about early childhood with passion, about mental health with sincerity, and about motherhood with vulnerability. While others may have treated public appearances as duty, Catherine treated them like conversations. When she shook someone's hand, she looked them in the eye. When she hugged a child, it was genuine. When she spoke, it didn't feel rehearsed. This wasn't politics. It wasn't protocol. It was a connection. And slowly the public began to look at her and think, she could lead us someday. She wasn't just surviving the spotlight, she was reshaping what it meant to stand in it. Royal watchers, commentators, even global media outlets began referring to her differently. The future face of the monarchy, the people's queen in waiting, the unspoken heart of the crown. Her wardrobe wasn't flashy, but it became symbolic. Her smiles weren't strategic, but they lingered in headlines. Her presence wasn't loud, but it was undeniably stronger than ever. And perhaps the most remarkable thing of all? She didn't know, not yet at least. She didn't know what had been written about her in the Queen's private letter. She didn't know the kind of ripples she had set in motion. She only knew that her job was to serve, and she was doing it the only way she knew how, quietly, consistently, and with heart. Queen Elizabeth's message was never about replacing anyone. It was about preparing. She saw the world changing. The monarchy is under pressure to modernize. And in Catherine, she saw someone who could lead, not with loud declarations, but with presence. She wasn't asking for titles to be rearranged. She wasn't shifting the throne. She was gently encouraging those she loved to consider what lies ahead. She wrote not just as a monarch, but as a mother and grandmother. Her hope was not for division, but for renewal. The royal family now stands at a crossroads. On one hand, tradition looms large. King Charles, though shaken and emotionally affected by the Queen's letter, remains the ruling monarch. He has spent decades preparing for this role. To ignore that would be to shake the very foundations of royal lineage. But on the other hand, there's a soft but growing momentum for change. Those inside the palace are beginning to realize something crucial. The Queen's handwritten note didn't challenge the throne, but it did challenge the direction the monarchy was headed. And now, every member of the royal family must make a choice. Charles, deeply respectful of his mother, is reportedly torn. To act on her private words might be seen as emotional, even unstable, but to ignore them could feel like silencing her final wisdom. He's caught in a delicate dance between duty and devotion, between leading and listening. Camilla remains beside him, composed in public, but uncertain in private. Some say she feels overlooked. Others believe she's preparing to reaffirm her place with dignity. What's clear is that her role is now under intense scrutiny, even if she never asked for it to be. William is staying quiet, for now. But behind that calm exterior is a man who loves his wife deeply and understands her strength. He's likely aware of how the Queen viewed Catherine. And though he's not rushing to change anything, insiders say he's listening, observing, and thinking. But the most remarkable stance comes from Catherine herself. Even as headlines begin to call her the real future of the crown, she carries on as usual. No shifts in tone, no sudden ambition, just duty, just service, just grace. She is perhaps unknowingly embodying the very leadership the Queen foresaw. And then, there's the people. The public response has been extraordinary. Across social media, television debates, and global newsrooms, people are beginning to ask questions. Public support for William and Catherine has soared. Surveys show younger generations, especially, feel connected to them, not because of tradition, but because of who they are. And that changes everything, because the monarchy, while built on history, survives on relevance. And Queen Elizabeth, wise as ever, may have left a message that speaks not just to the royal family, but to the world watching them. Her note didn't demand action, it didn't rewrite rules, but it planted a seed, a quiet, powerful seed of transformation. And now the choice is no longer hers to make. It belongs to those she left behind. To Charles, who must decide whether to preserve tradition or honor legacy. To William, who must protect both his wife and his country. And to Catherine, who may one day discover that she's been carrying the crown's future all along. What happens next? That's the story still unfolding. One moment, one appearance, one whispered conversation at a time. A single letter, a box never meant for public eyes, and a quiet message that has stirred 1,000 conversations. Catherine may not wear a new crown, she may not carry a new title, but in the hearts of many, she already represents something more. A future with grace, empathy, and quiet power. So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.